Titanfall.
Hello there everybody, my name's G2A4 back again with you guys, yet another Titanfall audio commentary. If you're brand new to the channel, it is really appreciated if you would hit that subscribe button, as I do upload daily Titanfall content. With that being said, let's get straight into the best class setup for the G2A4 rifle. So, the G2A4 rifle, well first off, my thoughts before we get into the best class setup for this. I have always been a fan of this weapon, but it seemed like there was maybe 3 or 4 weeks after the game came out where I just didn't really touch it whatsoever, and I don't know why. I mean, I've always really liked it. I made a video back in the first week when the game dropped, and I gave it straight up praise because I think it's a really good weapon, and I still do think it's a really good weapon. Just there was a time where I just kind of stopped touching it as I was testing out other weapons, playing with them, and trying to experience all the other weapons that are in the game. And for some reason, I never really came back to the G2A4 rifle. I mean, I used it a couple times. I picked it up off of some people and used burn cards, but I never really created a custom class for it since the game first came out. But now that I've been just testing it out, trying to figure out what exactly the best class setup is that works for me personally, I just have fallen in love with this thing again. It's a lot of fun to use, and I think it's very well balanced. Actually, I mean, I think they got everything spot on. The damage seems very good for it being a semi-automatic rifle. The only slight problem I might have with it is that you can't shoot it as fast as you want to. There actually is a mod in which it allows you to shoot as fast as you want to. It's called match trigger, but I do think that it's not too restricting, the fire rate lock that it has, but I think it could be a little bit more, so it could allow you to shoot a little bit faster. But overall, I think it is a very well balanced weapon, and I would recommend anyone to use it. Now, it is a bit of a harder weapon as it is a semi-automatic rifle, and not everyone is going to be a fan of this, especially a lot of the beginner, earlier players, especially those just entering into the FPS scene. Maybe Titanfall is your first-person shooter you've ever experienced, so you might not be a fan of the semi-autos quite yet, but overall, I really do like it, and I think it is a good weapon, but maybe for more of the experienced players, what I would say. But now let's actually get into the class setup here for the G2A4 rifle. Now, just to remind you guys, this is my personal favorite class a little. Maybe you guys have a different opinion on this, but for me personally, just playing with it for the last couple days while testing it out, this is what I found to work the best for me personally. Starting off with for the sight, we have the HCOG, as I just really feel like it works with this weapon. I don't know, something about it. I especially also like it on the carbine, but it also really works with the G2A4 rifle. The other two sights, it didn't really work or fit. I mean, they worked. I just, at the end of the day, I really like using the HCOG, and it felt best for me personally. Now onto the mod. This was probably the hardest aspect of putting the class together, because really all the attachments just work really well with the G2A4 rifle, but I decided to end up going with the extended mag, as this is a semi-automatic, and I still do struggle with my aim and with any sort of semi-automatic and pretty much any first-person shooter. I've always had a really hard time with getting my aim on, and well, I guess it's not just specifically to the semi-automatics, but as it is a semi-automatic, I can't just spray them down. Well, I mean, I try to, as you're going to see in some of these gameplay clips, I actually try to hip-fire them, but don't recommend doing that, especially with the G2A4. But the reason I decided to put on the extended mag, as I did say, is I do miss a lot, and as well as I just don't want to have to reload quite as often. Now, the suppressor and the match trigger are both really good attachments as well. The match trigger I would recommend if you have really good aim, but if you're kind of sloppy like I myself think I am personally, then I'd recommend just going with extended mag, as it does increase your ammo count. But what the max trigger does exactly is it does increase your maximum fire rate at which you can shoot at, so it won't lock up on you, the weapon, if you're trying to shoot it super fast, which is really nice, and I really like the feeling of it. But I still really found myself really liking extended mag. The suppressor wasn't bad either on it, but as I did say, at the end of the day, I was like, extended mag all the way for this weapon. Now onto the anti-Titan weapon. I decided to put on the Archer Heavy Rocket. Now this is actually a bit of a switch up, as I don't think actually any of my best class setups have ever included the Archer Heavy Rocket. I could be wrong on that, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. And the reason I decided to put this on as well, this class overall is kind of more of a slower pace class. I mean, it is Titanfall, you're always moving for the most part, so the slower pace version of Titanfall is definitely a whole lot different than other games, but I would consider this more of a slower style playing class in Titanfall, so I decided to put on the Archer Heavy Rocket, as it really seems to work with that sort of playstyle, and that's really the only reason. You can lock on off in the distance, shoot it, and that's just really why I decided to put on the Archer Heavy Rocket. Now for the sidearm, I have the RE45 auto pistol, as this is a semi-automatic rifle, the G2A4, and I really like to have the automatic pistol on my side, so I can hip fire any sort of enemies in close quarter situations, because, as I did say, and I mentioned, it's not really that easy to actually hip fire an enemy, the G2A4 really struggles at close range, and that is probably the downfall of this weapon. Well, not the downfall, but it's definitely the weakness of this weapon, I'd argue. So putting the RE45 really does help with the class. Now onto the tactical ability, we have Active Radar Pulse, as I like to scan rooms before I enter them, especially as I did say, this is more of a tactical, well, I didn't say tactical, but I said it was more of a slow-paced class, in which it is, so I like to scan the room before I enter, so I know what general direction to be shooting at the enemy, and I decided to put on Active Radar Pulse. For the Ordnance, we have Satchel Charge, which actually pairs very well, I think, personally, with the Active Radar Pulse, because you can scan the room, and if you don't want to take them on, especially with the G2A4, it is, as it did say, it does struggle at close quarter situations, so you could always toss in a Satchel Charge or two, just to take out the enemy. Now for the kit, I have Minion Detector and Power Cell. Minion Detector, I always have it on my classes, and I've really come accustomed to it. I'm not really a fan of any of the other tier 2, I guess, parts of the kit, so I decided to go with Minion Detector with that, and then Power Cell because I like to scan rooms as much as I can, and it really, I think Power Cell works the best with Active Radar Pulse personally. I mean, obviously it works with all of the tactical abilities, but I really like it, especially paired up with Active Radar Pulse like I do in this class. So guys, has been yet another audio commentary. It's been the best class setup for the G2A4 rifle. Please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Do you agree with my class setup? Do you disagree? What adjustments would you make to it? I really want to know your guys' thoughts and opinions on this class setup, but I will be trying to bring you guys yet another video later on tonight. I'm very busy, but I will try my hardest to get another video up for you guys. So thanks so much for watching. My name's G2A4, and I'll talk to you guys then. Goodbye.